everyone. Our God practice this week is one called Prayer of Examen. Now, this is a God practice that was not made up by me. It was not made up just yesterday. It is one that was developed by Saint Ignatius, who was born in 1491. So it is quite old. And it is a practice that helps you become aware of the presence of God in your life. It also helps you become aware of your own self and your mannerisms. So this happens both in the exercise, but then also as you move forward into the days and weeks ahead, you begin to see the presence of God and understand yourself better in the moments as they come. This is best done in the evening, I would say. And I know a number of you from talking to you, you struggle to have a good bedtime routine. It's way too easy just to watch Netflix until 2 a.m. And so a lot of you don't want to do that. And so this is a spiritual practice or God practice that I think can actually be used to help create a better bedtime routine. You can make a cup of tea and sit down with it and go through the last 24 hours of your life. And that's what this practice is. And so as you sit down to prepare, whether you are, whether it's in the morning, whenever you decide to do it, you might even decide to do it as you're falling asleep. Just side note, if you do fall asleep while doing this or ever while praying, there's no shame. There's no shame in that. Apparently your body needed sleep more than it needed to communicate with God. If that seems to be a habit, then I encourage you to also find time to do this or pray apart from falling asleep. But okay, back on track. So when you find your space and your time, you're going to think back on the past 24 hours. And essentially you're working on creating a movie. So you're thinking of not just what you did, but where were you? Who were you with? What emotions did you feel? What were highs and lows of the day? And so as you come up with that timeline and think on all the details, you're going to play it back almost like a movie. And you can even picture yourself watching it with Jesus if that's helpful, and he can help point out where he was in the day and in the movie. After you watch it in your mind as a movie, go back and ask some questions as you kind of rewatch it. And these questions fall into 4 different categories. The first is giving thanks for the presence of God. So you're looking specifically for the joy and the life-giving presence of God and giving thanks for that. The second is you're looking to be aware of where you did not see God. So where he was absent or where he felt absent during the day. And the third is repenting. And the fourth is moving forward into the presence of God. So looking kind of more into tomorrow and the next day. So those are the categories. The book I use as a resource has a number of questions that fall into each category. I'm just going to give you 1 or 2 per category, and I hope that's helpful. I'll see if I can get them to type across the bottom of the screen. Otherwise, you can rewind and listen and write them down. So in the first category of finding God's presence and giving thanks. Question 1, in the past 24 hours, when did you feel most fully alive? When did you feel most fully alive? And number 2, how was God there for you today? Very general question. How was God there for you today? So as you ask those questions, think back on the movie and actually look for specific moments, specific times that these things come to mind. And the second question, the absence of God. In the past 24 hours, who pulled you away from God? Who pulled you away from God? And the second question, when did you yourself choose to pull away from God? The absence of God. Third section on repenting. The question is this: name one thing you wish you'd done or not done within the past 24 hours. Name one thing you wish you'd done or not done. And then lastly, looking forward, question here is ask God what you need for tomorrow. So I encourage you to practice this until it becomes habit. And again, you're looking for that habit of seeing God, not just as you look back, that'll become easier, I think, but also seeing him in the present. So as you begin to live your todays, instead of remembering your yesterdays, as you live your todays, you'll begin to see God more in the spaces where you failed to see him before. I think you'll also learn to know yourself better. Those questions of where did you pull away from God? What made you come alive? Those things I think are helpful insight for knowing yourself, which I often say is the most challenging thing in life, is to truly know yourself and love yourself. So I encourage you, if you want to learn a little more, you can do research on St. Ignatius, or if you just look up, simply Google Prayer of Examen. You'll find other ways to do it, other questions to help guide you through. It's generally similar, but there are different questions and methods. I know there's also at least one podcast out there where someone will kind of read through these questions and guide you through it on your own. So if that's helpful for you to have an outside voice talking to you while you're doing it, I know some have found that helpful, so you can look for that as well. But I hope it's a helpful practice, and I hope you enjoy doing it, and that you actually, practices are practiced because they take work to actually cultivate and make a habit. And so I hope it becomes not just a practice for you, but a habit for you as well. Go in peace.